Coming up on Payne Weber College Basketball on ABC, we move into the ACC from Charlottesville, Virginia. It's the Cavaliers of Virginia and the Duke Blue Devils. Right now, let's send you to John Saunders. John?
Welcome, and we'll get you out to your game in just a moment. But right now, we have some time for scores and highlights. We begin in the Big East. The Georgetown Hoyas coming off a loss at Pittsburgh in a game that was delayed by a day because of the bad weather. Allen Iverson with the steal, takes it in, jams it down. And Georgetown had an early lead. They were up 14 at halftime, but right now Miami with good defense in the second half, 68-63. Allen Iverson, 29 points and 10 steals to go with 4 assists. Maryland against Wake Forest. The Maryland Terrapins looking for their first win in the conference. Keith Booth is stuffed by Tim Duncan. At the other end, Rusty LaRue lights it up with a jumper on the outside. He's the quarterback. He's also a baseball player and the shooting guard. 75-62. Wake Forest has the lead. Tim Duncan has a triple-double in the game, first of his career. Virginia Tech, a surprise for many this year, knocking off LaSalle 71-55. Ace Custis with 12 points and 7 rebounds there. Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan State right now is unbeaten in the conference, but they trail this game and they lose it 76-54 is the final. Michigan had 4 players in double figures. Speaking of the ACC and teams looking for their first win, we talked about the Maryland Terrapins, a surprise at 0-2. NC State is also 0-2. That not much of a surprise. And Florida State at 1-1, trying to get back into things. Curtis Marshall feeds it to Al Pinkins, who gets the lay-in, and Florida State was down at that point. NC State comes back with a big second half and wins it 71-65. Todd Fuller, the big center, with 17 points. Notre Dame against Pitt. We told you about Pitt's win against Georgetown at home. This time they got the Fighting Irish, and welcome to the Big East. Andre Ulrich with a three-pointer from NBA range, and Pitt had an early lead. Right now they lead by 10. 70-60 is the score there. This is the first ever meeting in the Big East. We'll continue more of our pregame coverage in just a moment, and your game is coming your way, so stick around. ABC's college basketball continues right after this.
Payne Weber College Basketball on ABC, brought to you by Payne Weber. We believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Gillette Sensor Excel and the Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. And Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And now, John Saunders.
And welcome back to ABC's college basketball. Some of you will see a Duke against Virginia. Others will see George Washington and Missouri. We have previews of each game, beginning with Brent Musburger in the ACC.
It's going to be sold out, and a couple of teams really in need of a win. You know, you have to go back all the way to February 4th of 1984 when Duke and Virginia were not ranked in the AP Top 25. So these two schools right now are struggling. A year ago, perhaps the turning point for Duke was the fact that Virginia beat them in double overtime in Durham. But Coach Mike Krzyzewski is back this year. Now let's send you to Roger Twibell.
To George Washington today, both of these teams with several interesting stories. For the Colonials, the greatest disparity in height between teammates at 5'3", Shante Rogers and 7'1", Alexander Kuhl. Meanwhile, for Missouri, the only 7-foot twins in college basketball, Sammy and Simeon Haley, averaging 18 points and 11 rebounds between them. Let's go back down to John Saunders.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. We'll get back to you in just a moment. Coming up at halftime, we'll hear from the coach of the #2 team in the nation, Rick Pitino of the Kentucky Wildcats. His only loss to #1 UMass, and he thinks his team will get even better.
I think that just the normal maturing process of Ron Mercer and Wayne Turner, I just think time is going to make them better basketball players because they're physically very talented. And outside of that, I'm very pleased with the way things are going.
And we'll hear plenty more from Rick Pitino at halftime. Right now, let's check a couple of scores that are just about done. Miami against Georgetown. Miami with a good second half. But the Hoyas right now, Victor Page, the freshman, comes up with this steal and takes it the length of the floor, knocks this one down, and the Hoyas are holding on. There's about 10 seconds left in the game. Georgetown leading it by 5. Allen Iverson, 29 points, 10 steals. And Maryland, a loser at Wake Forest. Maryland now 0-3 in the conference. Tim Duncan with a triple-double in that game. We'll see you at halftime with scores and highlights and more from Rick Pitino. Enjoy the game.
When was the
Stop. Baby, watch us sing the comedy spot.
Let's hoop it up! We'll be slamming, we'll be jamming, hoop it up all weekend long. Yeah, the balls are driving, all high-fiving, gonna rock till the cows come home. Don't you knock on my door, don't you ring my phone, 'cause I won't be disturbed while the ball game is on.
Weber, college basketball on ABC. Time to hoop it up at University Hall in Charlottesville, Virginia. The Cavaliers and the Blue Devils. The ACC standings will tell you the story. Georgia Tech at 3-0 has bolted to the top. Clemson and Wake Forest are unbeaten. And look at the bottom. Virginia 1-2. The Blue Devils 0-3. Welcome, everybody, with the coach himself, Dick Vitale. I'm Brett Musburger. Nice to have you along with us. I'll tell you, Dick, before the season started, I know a lot of folks who thought Virginia and Duke might be contesting for the top, and certainly not the bottom. What's going on here?
Well, it's been Heartbreak Hotel for Duke. Lost 3 games where they had double-figure leads in the ACC. Let them slip away because they don't have the star player to make the big play at the end of the game. I mean, their talent level has been depleted. They don't have the supers. No longer a Grant Hill, a Bob Hurley, a Christian Laettner. They have very good players, but don't have a superstar. Virginia has to find a way to get some productivity out of their baseline. Harold Dean is outstanding. Mr. Staples has to get his shot back for them to be effective.
Isn't he wonderful, folks? All you have to do is wind him up and away we go. Here's the starting lineup now. Jeff Capel's our leading scorer, but Dick, you say there's another man to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, Mr. Newton inside has to give him some big point production. He has to put some points on a board, and he's capable of doing it, but he has to do it against outstanding people. We look at Coach K sitting here right now. Coach K's operating with not the cast that he's had in the years he was winning those national titles.
Harold Dean, the lead man for the Cavaliers, number 21. But, folks, look at the starting center today. Number 42, Chase Matheny. 7'4", draws the starting job for Coach Jeff Jones, whose 6th season here at Virginia. One of the bright young coaches. And now, Dick, what about your keys today?
Well, I think when you look at this game right now, you think about Duke. They really have to make that three-point shot with Collins and Capel. Virginia's got to get some help on the inside. Nolan's got to give them some point production to get some balance between Staples and Dean.
7-4 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The freshman ready to go to work now for the Cavaliers. And they'll re-jump it here. Frank Scagliato is the referee. He tapped that time. He came down with the left hand. Control. Out of bounds. And it's Duke's ball. The umpire, Andre Patillo, making that call, Coach.
Basically, Brent, you got to believe that Mr. Matheny's a little bit nervous making his debut. Hey, another Tom Burleson. Remember the big guy that played at North Carolina State?
That was a great team on an NCAA championship. Fellow by the name of Skywalker David Thompson was the key man on the Burleson team. Now is Capel working out on the top. Wojciechowski draws his start. Newton out very high. Which one of these teams can come up with the inside game, Dick?
Well, I think when you look right now, Newton's a guy that can score inside. Block shot. The presence of Matheny.
Altered the entire attack by the Blue Devils this time. And now Staples, they work it inside. Matheny battling away, lost it. Newton comes away with it, and here are the Blue Devils.
I think, Brent, you got to play the big guy at least 20, 25 minutes, and you sink and swim. The only way he's going to learn to be effective on the college level is to play.
Put the 3 on the board for Cable.
That's what they have to do. They got to really knock down the three-point shot, and they're very capable of doing that. Won the Great Alaska Shootout, played brilliantly with wins over Indiana and Iowa.
Staples covered up by Collins. They have to attack the 3 when Staples has the ball on the outside. Matheny comes out high to screen on Collins. Newton on the switch. Matheny wanted the pick and roll that time.
Harold Dean had 39 in his last game against Clemson, but it wasn't enough to beat the Tigers.
Dean draws the pushing foul.
He was really shooting poorly, Brent, going into his last 2 games. Looks like he's broken out of that slump. He was shooting in the 20 percentile area, both from 3 and 2-point range. There's the head fake that freezes the defender, and they get the foul on Newton, and he can't believe it.
Shooting 2, number 21, Harold Dean.
Talk about the great guards in the ACC. You hear his name mentioned often, but has not had the big year this year.
Yeah, you can't call him great, can you? I mean, he's just a nice player, but he hasn't stepped it up to that level.
He has the ability, played brilliantly last year to be one of the premier guards in America. I really think his problem this year is the lack of having a good scorer inside like Junior Burrow to take away the pressure on him on a perimeter.
They're sending a wake-up call to Chris Alexander, the senior. He's not drawing to start today. That's one of the reasons why Matheny is out there. And I want to tell you, Matheny is making his presence felt defensively underneath. It is not easy to maneuver against someone 7'4".
They're not really happy with Alexander's play in the last 2 games. Defensively is really an area he's supposed to excel on, and he didn't play defense the last 2 games, so he goes to the bench. Time.
Collins on the jump shot.
He can shoot it. His dad now with the Detroit Pistons doing a heck of a job. Doug Collins, I guarantee he's watching us right now, Brett.
So you better say nice things, right?
Well, Doug has done a heck of a job having Grant Hill to start with. Mike says, I'd like to make you a trade. Get me back Hill.
Matheny looks like he can run the court a little bit. Dick getting down. Got a lot to learn. He's sealing up. And there. Beautiful that time. And so Dean now with 3 total points.
He's very strong with the basketball. Physically, a very strong guard. There he is defensively. They call him the Badger. You think about this club, Virginia, they used to always have an attitude. Defensively, they're always tough mentally. This club lacks it, bro.
On the inside, away from the ball that time. And Matheny's first.
Outstanding article today by a local writer, Jerry Ratcliffe, in the Daily Progress, talked about how Virginia always had the reputation under Jeff Jones with guys that really played with tremendous intensity. And even in the Terry Holland era, when you had guys like Tom Sheehy and John Crotty.
Virginia with the loose ball, 2-on-1. Dean draws the foul, and he'll shoot a pair. Cable got him.
I think you're going to see a big day out of Dean here today. I really do. I think he's really focused. I watched him at practice yesterday. He wants to get out of this little schneid that they're in. They're a pretty good basketball team, especially on a perimeter. There's the deflection. You're going to see the ball now bounce in the hands. Ultimately, with Dean is going to get a handle from Mr. Staples. And there he is going to take it to the goal, draw the contact, protects the basketball.
Just a pair of free throws.
Both these clubs really mirror each other in that they got outstanding perimeter players, but they don't have baseline productivity. A problem with that is 8 guys were drafted out of this league to the NBA last year. 8 guys in the first round.
Virginia's one-man scoring machine. Dean has all 4 of their points. Duke with 5, leading by 1. Capel got them off with a 3, and Collins with that jump shot at the free throw line. That's the scoring that we've had here in the early going. Expect this one to go right down the stretch. Very close. Wojo not there. And Virginia again comes away with it.
Robinson, very athletic, been a super sub last 3 games he started. Has not been as effective as a starter like he is as a guy coming off the bench, number 13. Wants to take a one-on-one, dribble penetration.
They Staples to Matheny. Matheny put it down and turned it over.
Well, as soon as he brought the ball down, he neutralized his great size. You're 7'4". Hey, maybe this is the rebirth again of Tom Burleson. Watch the big guy inside. Sean Bradley. Hey, Sean Bradley, the Nets are not supposed to be here. There's the head fade. What'd you think of that trade? Bradley for Coleman.
One failure for another is how I looked at it for the time being.
Well, Coleman,
both of them are disappointments.
Well, Coleman, because of attitude's got great ability, but he's just not an intense guy when it comes to doing it in a positive way to bring chemistry to a club.
Now Dick Alexander checks in for the first time, and Matheny will sit back down. It's a 1-point Duke lead, and there was a whistle before the shot. No basket that time. It goes to Duke.
Virginia got beat in their game with Clemson, and that was really a rarity to put 79 points on the board and lose by 10 for Jeff Jones's club because they lack offensive power, and anytime they usually score 79, they're going to be in a winner's circle.
The foul that resulted in Dean's shot not counting was assessed against Norman Nolan. That's his first. Nothing spectacular so far.
They got to get Newton some touches inside, shooting better than 70%.
Wallace, who's in for Duke, out high. That's the three, and it rattles out.
Students are not here basically because they're out of school right now, so you don't have the electricity in the arena that you normally would have with the whole student body here.
Could be a factor late in this one too. They probably could use a raucous crowd in here today, Dick.
Well, they bring in Ricky Price right now. Price has been sitting on a pine, not starting the last 2 games because they feel he has not been a guy contributing to the team and doing things the team way. And Mike Krzyzewski sent him a message, can't have selfishness on the floor.
Newton away, Collins now, here's Price for the field goal, and it won't stay in. Batted back beautifully by Capel.
Great play by Capel right there. His dad is the head coach at Old Dominion, and they had that big win last year when they beat Villanova in the first round of the NCAA.
Nolan backing in, his first field goal.
Comes out of Dunbar High School out of Baltimore. Played with Keith Booth, Rodney Elliott, who now played with Maryland, struggling right now early this year.
Both coaches stress defense. Top of that defense, one shot and out.
Well, it's 3-point shots. That's their name of the game right now offensively because they lack a point guard that can break defenses down.
Jump from Alexander, and Chris with his first field goal from Long Branch, New Jersey.
I think he got the message, sitting on a pine. He said, I don't want to sit on a pine, I want to play. I don't want to be all pine. Crowd's trying to wake up.
We put him up by 1, turnover Duke, Virginia ball.
Gonna get a TO, baby, right here.
One-point game, and it's early.
University.
Dick, you're going to agree with Jones taking Matheny out here, do you?
I really don't. I think you got to play the guy at least 20 minutes. Can't give him 2-3 minutes a shot. He's 7'4". The only way he's going to learn is being on the floor. You look at Jeff Jones, though. He has a tremendous record. When you think about it, here's a guy only 35 years of age, 4 NCAA birds, takes him to the Final 8 last year. What keeps him away from being a star, he just doesn't have the one-liners. He doesn't have the charismatic approach to it like a Calipari or a Pitino or like a Musburger.
I just threw a non-Italian into that group. Staples now looking for somebody down in the paint. He's sealed up on the double team. Gets it back here to Nolan. And there is the foul on Wallace. That's his first.
What has really happened to Staples, I believe, and Dean this year, Brent, is defenses are really concentrating and attacking them defensively on the perimeter. And therefore, they're not as effective as last year when they had balance by having Junior Burrow on the inside. Ooh, NC State gets a big win over Pat Kennedy's club. Todd Fuller, big guy, could play.
Dean on the jump shot. And Price losing it, and he's out of bounds. This will be Virginia ball.
If Duke is going to have a solid year and start to win some basketball games in the ACC, Mike Krzyzewski has to find a way that Ricky Price becomes a special player. When Price played brilliantly out in the Great Alaska Shootout, they beat a very good starting 5 in that Iowa team who's got a starting 5 that can match up with both.
Domzalski comes out with Collins. Now Staples. three is out into Wallace's hands, and now the Blue Devils with a trip, and they can regain the lead.
See, that's why his percentage is down. That was not a good shot. Shot selection, not really excellent by Staples.
Staples on the drive. Put back by Wallace, but Wallace looked strong on that rebound. That was a quick jump, even though the ball didn't stay back down there. And now at the other end, maneuvering as Alexander sealed up. Blue Devils come out on the run. They got a manpower edge here. Bryce for the layup.
He's the kid that's got to step it up, Brent. He's got good talent. He's quick. He's agile. He's got an excellent touch. He's mobile. He was one of the premier players in high school out of California. Mike was not happy with some of his shots in a game when he went 4 for like 15 and felt that he took some bad shots out of the system.
There's again on the turnover. Wallace will come to the free throw line and shoot a pair. And a reminder that coming up next, the season premiere of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Katarina Witt in a top international field take the ice. It's the ladies competition, the NutraSweet World Challenge of Champions. Plus, we'll announce our 1995 Athlete of the Year, all next on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Who's your athlete?
Ooh, Athlete of the Year. Wow. College, you're talking about nationally?
Nationally, every sport.
Well, every sport. Wow, I got to think about that.
You automatically don't choose Cal Ripken like everybody else?
Well, yeah, Cal Ripken because of longevity. I got to go with my guy Ripken. Thanks for bailing me out, Mr. Musburger. Thanks for bailing me out.
I didn't want you hung up on that one.
I was trying to say Thomas Krug, the quarterback of Notre Dame.
I was thinking that. I don't blame you. How is that romance between your daughter and Thomas?
Wow.
He's a fine young man, I'm going to tell you. So's your daughter, nice young woman. Notre Dame, Dick, they had a great year.
National champs next year in football, but let's get back to basketball.
Here comes Dean. There's the three.
I told you, Brent, he's going to have a big day today. I watched him in practice. This kid was concentrating. He was focused. If you put him in with a strong front court, he would be a big-time star. Oh, what a great look.
Great pass to Johnson.
What do you think, Mr. Musburger?
I like that pass a lot.
What about the jumper? What can he do? He can play defense. He's as good as any guard I've seen in the country this year. He's just been inconsistent though all year, not shooting the basketball, but you can see his
Newton puts it down with a quick move and a reverse layup. That was a fine move by Mr. Newton.
Mr. Newton said, hey, get me to rock from out of Canada, the Canadian Flash.
Dean again.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Yes, sir. He's a PTP here today, baby.
That's 9 for him.
Other people that have to contribute, though. You can't win being one-dimensional.
Now Price, and he answers. That's 2 field goals for Ricky.
He's got big-time ability, Brent. He's got big-time ability. Mike Krzyzewski trying to motivate him by sitting him on the pine to start the game.
Duke ball. It's a 1-point game. We expected it to be close. Both coaches hit the bench now and make some substitutes. So we'll pause for a timeout and come right back.
This is Tulane meets Arizona. Virginia battles Georgia Tech, or Temple takes on Tulane. Here's regional action on Payne Weber College basketball next Saturday on ABC.
This is worth another look.
We're going to see the dribble penetration. Look at his head up, you young kids. Look like he has great vision. Freeze it. See how he draws everybody to him, and then he dumps it to the interior. He gets the ball to where 4 people attack him, and he dumps it to Scott Johnson. A tremendous play right there by Harold Dean. Let's look at Mike Krzyzewski last year, such a tough year, had surgery on October 21st for his back. Then he really had problems because of a stress factor. Didn't rest enough and was the kind of guy that would say yes to everybody. He's got a heart of gold and finally has learned, Brent, how to say no and put his priorities in order.
Underwent ankle surgery before this season, still unable to play tennis and racquetball. He was telling us before the game. Mike likes a lot of physical activity, so it's hard for him to find an escape right now until he gets himself back in tip-top shape. But regardless, this is his 500th game as coach there. It's unbelievable.
Only 2 others in the ACC have coached that much. You've got Dean with over 1,081 games and counting, and the left-hander, Mr. Charles Grizzell, 507 when he was at Maryland.
Duke. Virginia's a little sloppy with the basketball, Coach.
Yeah, they really are, because they're so one-dimensional. They're basically a perimeter team, and if you can neutralize their perimeter, you got a great shot to beat them.
7 turnovers for the Cavaliers to 4 for Duke. And Duke, of course, featuring defense as they always have under Krzyzewski.
They got to get Newton to basketball a
The
little
3
bit.
for Collins.
He can drill the 3. He's shooting about 40% from three-point range. Had a big Great Alaska shootout. Made the all-tournament team. Knocked out 30 against Iowa. There's a zone now. Duke's going to the zone.
Alexander up over the top of it for a 2.
He was a big-time scorer in high school out of North Carolina. He said to me yesterday, almost went to Duke, Kentucky, Arkansas, but loved the Cavs. They got to get Newton some touches inside, Brent. Somebody better tell him they got a guy 70% he's shooting.
Newton that time went loose.
Hey, a nice drop step by the big guy.
Lead pass taken away from Robinson. Collins couldn't save it, out of bounds. Virginia ball.
Robinson has great athletic ability, really did an exceptional job as a diaper dandy as a freshman, and then last year had really a tough year. Talent level of Duke is less than last year. You think about it. Last year they had Meek, they had Cherokee Parks, Trajan Langdon, who's out all year as a medical redshirt. They lose academically Tony Moore, so they lose 4 players and they add 1, Eamon Domzowski. So their talent level is even down from last year.
I think the talent level's down at Virginia too.
It is. It really is, because of the fact that inside they weren't able to get a guy to score like a Junior Burrow. But I'll tell you one thing, Mike Krzyzewski's going to get it back. Make sure he adds Trajan Langdon. He'll be healthy. He adds Rashawn McLeod, his first transfer he has taken from out of St. John's as Capel comes back on the floor. And he adds 2 great recruits. I'm going to name Chris Carrawell, 6'6", and Mike Chappelle. Carrawell from St. Louis, Chappelle from out of Michigan.
It goes over. Away from the ball, and it'll be Virginia ball. And Newton is assessed his 2nd personal foul.
Virginia's a good club defensively. They really get up on you. They try to hold you under 40%. But the one thing their defense does not do, force the turnover a la Georgetown and get the score at the other end of the floor, like Connecticut does as well.
17 all. First half, Virginia and Duke here in the ACC. Courtney Alexander ships in. Second field goal for Chris Alexander.
Well, Alexander really giving him some quality minutes off the bench after he gets benched today because of his poor performance in the last 2 games. Well, a nice screen for Collins.
This fired completely off to the left.
A nice screen for him, but he hurried the shot. Oh, nice move.
He put it down, kept coming.
They think he could become a big-time scorer. Courtney Alexander, Terry Hollins was telling me yesterday, the AD here, former coach, told me that he's really played brilliantly in their practice sessions, but struggles a little right here in the game. Shows that scoring talent, a slasher, a driver.
Staples returns for the Cavaliers, and Courtney stepping to the free throw line, with Virginia leading it by 2. 8:50 to go first half, and Newton sits down.
Well, Newton made some headlines today out in the Washington Post. He was quoted, I don't think Mike Krzyzewski's very happy with his quotes. He came out and really jumped all over Tim Duncan, saying that he's a baby at times, doesn't play hard, he's very passive. Hey, if you're going to play against the Duncans of the world, I don't think you want to be quoted, because you know, Brent, that is bulletin board material the next time they play the team in Dinkin.
Taken away by Collins. It's a 3-point Virginia lead.
Man-to-man defense by Virginia.
Domzowski hasn't been much of a factor. Hasn't touched the ball much down on the inside for Duke.
No, they don't look inside enough, I don't think, to their big people. People flashing 4. He's had some great moments. Mike thinks he's having a solid year this year, averaging 16 a game. Had the great play the year they went to the Final Four.
Capel gets his own miss.
The final game when they lost to Arkansas, Capel really played well in the tournament.
This time Collins rings in the 3.
He gets the good look at the goal. It's going to go down. If he's really under control, squares his body. Both these clubs, as you said earlier, desperately need a W. Duke 0-3 in the conference, and Virginia already with a loss at home.
Nolan misfiring into Wallace's hands. Collins, the leading scorer for Duke right now with 8 points, 2 threes. Cable will go off the dribble. Taken back by Wojo, and here's Wallace, and he'll shoot free throws.
Wojciechowski, tough little guy, makes that steal. Hey, I know one thing. You know what we should do here today, Brent? I think I just come up with an idea. Let's go send a message to Jeff and a message to Mike. 3-on-3. Get rid of, put the big guys on the sideline, and let's play a little 3-on-3. We get Collins, we get Capel, and we get Price, and we get Dean and Staples and Jamal Robinson, and we play a little 3-on-3.
That's about what we're watching.
Yeah, 3-on-3 basketball. Scagliata right there, nice Faison, blowing the whistle. Look at the striped shirts. You're going to change your name today to Musburgerino. Might as well have fun, facing all that travel and all the snow and the ice. You might as well laugh, because inside the arena, it's something special everywhere I go.
So Wallace with a pair of free throws here, and the Blue Devils lead it 22-20.
The Globe. Katarina Witt headlines a ladies competition in the NutraSweet World Challenge of Champions next on the season premiere of Wide World.
7:45 first half, 2-point Duke lead. Duke winless in the ACC, and Virginia 1-2 right now. But Duke's losses have been close. They lost all 3 games by a total of 11 points. And each game they led by double digits in the first half.
All 3 games came down to the last 40 seconds, so a possession either way, they could be sitting here at 3-0. That shows the balance. There aren't any cupcakes in the league, but there aren't any heavyweight teams either.
Nolan fouled as he assaulted the basket, and as he comes to the free throw line. Let me remind you that tonight here on ABC, Jeff's younger brother moves in to help the family out on the Jeff Foxworthy show. Then Betty White tries for husband number 6. Ooh. Dick Van Patten on Maybe This Time. Yeah, Maybe This Time. And John Schneider stars in the world premiere of Legend of the Ruby Silver, all tonight, right here on ABC.
I'll tell you one thing, when you talk about the Duke team right now, what they have are a lot of good players, very good players, but they don't have the star player. They have guys that usually are like what you call on a contending team, a 3 and 4 and 5 option. They don't have a number 1 and 2 option like when they had the guys like Leitner and Hurley and Hill. What they have now are a lot of excellent complementary players.
Price 3.
I really like him, Brent. I've always liked his ability. I think the kid can be terrific. He's just got to get a little bit more mentally tough and understand that Mike Krzyzewski's in his corner and that he can be a special player. He's the key on his club if they're going to do anything in the ACC.
Good pull-up jump shot. Alexander, and you're right, Dick, he does have a nice stroke.
Alexander from out of Durham put a lot of big points on the board. You know, with this game back home, he's playing for bragging rights when he can strut on the Duke campus and say, hey, guys, I played for the Cavs, and I had a big day against you guys.
2-point Blue Devil lead.
You like Price? I like Price.
Yeah, you always did, even last year you talked about it. I know you like it.
He's got great quickness.
Domzalski goes to work, and there's something they could use more of.
I think they got to get him a few touches inside. Domzalski's a good role player, very strong. He's like their 5th option, and they got to make him touch the ball a little bit.
Staples, and this is a 2.
They need Mr. Staples. Where have you been, baby? This kid was the quickest draw in the country last year off the bench. The super sub. He was like automatic.
Some players are better off the bench, aren't they, than being out there on the floor all the time?
They really are. They play better in that role where they can relax. They have one down in Maryland, and Mario Lucas is in that situation.
Capel's 3 is right there.
He's got a long jump shot. This guy's got MCI special all over it. I mean, he could knock down the long-range jumper.
That's a 5-point lead for the Blue Devils. That's their biggest here in the first half. And Alexander jams in another one, and now the freshman from Durham with 7 points.
He's really into it mentally. You can see it yesterday in practice. Special. They look at that Duke uniform, and they get really pumped up.
Capel coming back. Yanked away by Alexander, and now Staples lead pass, and Courtney's got another one. This time he missed it. He was wide open, but he gets it back, and he nails it.
He's a scorer. He's got scorer's mentality. He's saying, Coach K, you could have had me, baby. Coach K, you could have had me. I'm from Durham, North Carolina.
A 1-point Duke lead at the 5-minute mark, first half.
I don't care what the records are. You hook up ACC competition, it's always exciting.
Staple with the 3, and there's that range again, and he's got 11.
Having a little shootout right here at University Hall. Three-point field goals right now, 6 for 9. We talked about Duke as one of the keys. Had to make the three-point shot, and they've responded.
They've also been attacking the 3. Do you see how Dean had to step inside and make it a 2 that time? Defensively, the Blue Devils have challenged Staples and Dean here on the outside. They're not giving them open 3s at this end.
That was the priority the other night in the Villanova-Connecticut game. Connecticut had a great game plan, Jim Calhoun, and that was to shut down Villanova's three-point shooters, and they did a great job. And by the way, Ray Allen in the first half put on one of the greatest shows I've ever witnessed in college for a half. He was sensational in the first half.
Fine player. Now Staples takes one that time up over the defender, knocked away, loose one, back down now by Courtney.
Well, you know, Brant, whenever you're struggling and you're a shooter, there's only one way to get out of it. Keep shooting the rock, baby. Mr. Staples will do that.
Traveling on the turnover. Scott Johnson. Inside of 4 minutes to go, 33-29.
Junior women's basketball returns to University Hall Tuesday.
Payne Weber College Basketball on ABC, brought to you by Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Pringles, so fresh, once you pop, you can't stop. Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And Network MCI, how to get modern communications technology working for your business.
Well, Dick, here's a play that you like.
Well, there's the dump down inside to Domzalski. And now he's going to kick it back out, inside-outside action, and Capel's going to knock it down.
Been a close game. 2 ties, 5 lead changes. Duke once led by 5, but that's the biggest lead that we've had here in the first half of this game. Newton now with the ball on the floor, backing his way in, and Alexander stuffs him.
Alexander's second in all-time block shots here. No secret who's number 1. Big Ralph Sampson.
And Dean rockets in a 3 at the other end.
He's my guy. I love Harold Dean. I had him as one of the top 10 players in America in my annual preseason. Let me down a little because he struggled big time early, but I think he's back. 39 against Clemson, and he's back today.
And he's hit 2 of 3 from three-point range. A total of 12 points. Leading scorer for both teams. Capel leading Duke with 11 here in the first half. It's a 1-point Blue Devil lead. Down now to 3 minutes first half. Rice explodes. Newton offensive rebound put back, and he is fouled.
You know, you look at Newton's numbers, shooting 72% is amazing. Mike Krzyzewski said, maybe in my next book, I'm going to write and dedicate a chapter to how to get a guy 72% field goal percentage, because look at him right there, attacking the basketball. He's starting to get a lot more confidence as a player. He's had big games against subpar competition, has to take his level against people like Jeff Jones's team and be very productive. But he's had a lot of 20-point nights against the middle major college teams.
Reminder that coming up on the Network MCI Halftime Report, John Saunders will have scores and highlights from all of today's action. Plus, he'll talk with Kentucky coach Rick Pitino. And folks, if you haven't seen the Wildcats, that is a very, very talented team. I know Mr. Vitale thinks they're going to go all the way. You probably heard him tell everybody that on ESPN. That's a very good team.
I think they're the best team in America. And John talked about earlier the triple-double that Tim Duncan had today. And Mr. Newton better be ready when he hooks up after his quotes today with Duncan when they play at Wake Forest.
Johnson sends it back on out to Courtney Alexander, who tried to get it back on the inside. Probably should have gone ahead with the shot.
Yeah, should have shot it, especially the way he's been playing and shooting the basketball. 12-foot jump shot.
Capel's not shy. I mean, he launched one.
Has no idea where he was on the floor right there. He'll tell you that. He just let it fly. Look at this kid. This kid's got
Courtney, the NBA, they'd have given it to him.
He's got great offensive ability. You see him shake and bake, stutter step. Watch him right here. Watch Mr. Alexander. Not Chris, this is Courtney. A little stutter. Oh, a little shake and bake. Hello. John Saunders used to take it to the goal like that in Canada when he grew up as a kid.
Yeah, but that was a hockey puck.
Oh, it was a hockey puck. Oh.
So Matheny. returns to the lineup. And Chris will sit down, and now Courtney Alexander shooting the free throw.
My new project. Yeah, I'm going to get on Chase's bandwagon. He needs more PT. We got to start a petition. Get him more PT, Chase Matheny. 7'4", he's got to play. Play himself out of the lineup. Let him foul. Let him learn how to play.
3-point Duke lead. Down toward the 2-minute mark here, first half, and there's Mr. Vitale's project right there.
Yeah, he's got to play. He's got pretty good hands. He's active. They tell us all this, but then he sits on the pine. Can't have him as an assistant coach at 7'4".
Even if he sits on the pine, he's drafted the NBA with 7'4".
He's only a freshman, was a redshirt last year, played for an outstanding high school coach, Jerry Faulkner in Charlotte. There he is zoning in the 3-second area.
Three. And there's your guy, Price.
Ricky Price really stepping it up. Coming off the bench, sending a message. Coach K, I received your message.
Courtney will try to respond with a fine pull-up jump shot, and he's a nice-looking freshman. That's 11 for Courtney.
He had 30 points a game last year on a high school level. A lot of talent, big-time scorer, and you can see why. A middle-range shooter.
This doesn't appear to be the kind of game that's going to separate. You never know about basketball, game of runs, but it's a 4. We've had once a 5-point lead by Duke, but I believe this one's going to stay tight.
I'll tell you one thing, people aren't going to agree with me. Mike Krzyzewski's doing one of his greatest jobs of coaching with limited personnel this year, a 7-man rotation. I mean, loses as Mr. Price knocks another one down, loses 4 key players, guys he was counting on like Langdon aren't here. But Coach K, everybody looks at one simple factor. They look at numbers, Mr. Musburger. They look at numbers.
And why not? You're supposed to win.
That's the bottom line.
There's a 20-second. Although,
but you
listen,
know,
I make fun
coaching,
of that, but you know what? I agree with you.
You know, in coaching, you could do a great job and not have the personnel.
Exactly. And the point, Dick, that you have made that I think is worth repeating is that this Duke team right now is not as talented as last year's team. That's not to say that these athletes aren't as good. They just don't have the experience. Cherokee Parks was a good college basketball player. You and I agreed by that.
So was Eric Meek, a pretty decent college player. So was Trajan Langdon. They don't have those people. Now, that team isn't a team you want to measure your standards against because they were 13-19. I firmly believe, though, if Coach K didn't have any trauma, any turmoil last year, they would have won a lot of the heartbreaking games they lost and would have been maybe 19-13 or 20-13. And that's not to knock Peter Gaudette, but he came into a tough situation.
Well, Duke owns a 6-point lead here right now. Alexander trying to ship it over to Matheny.
That was a tough
gets
pass.
away.
Tough pass.
And Capel goes to work again off the dribble. This time he could not find it.
You really don't have to guard Wojciechowski, a hard, tough, aggressive player, but he's not a threat to score from the perimeter. He's a penetrator. He does a good job defensively. So I'd play off. You can give him help.
Obviously bringing it down here for the last shot.
See, I wouldn't let him penetrate. I'd play off him.
Batted free. And now Courtney with time. And the pull-up jump shot, not there. Capel's got it, and he calls timeout quickly with 3.6 seconds. He was sealed up on the baseline. He wanted to make sure that the team got the last shot.
Courtney Alexander should have given it up. He had Harold Dean in front of him. And the one thing you want to do when you're a freshman and you got a superstar on your club, a kid that gets a lot of recognition, you want to give the rock up and keep him happy. He was in front and never touched the basketball. And I don't think he was happy with that. Jerry Lindquist of the Richmond Times wrote a story today about Mike Krzyzewski as we look at him. 500 games coaching. I mean, an outstanding article on Michael. And think about this. It shocked the heck out of me, and I know you too. This morning we talked about it, that only 3 guys in all the ACC have ever coached in 500 games or more. That just really shocked the heck out of me.
Dick, let's see what they can do here with 3.6 left. Should be able to get a decent shot, but Capel was well covered as he brought it across. That'll do it, but the Blue Devils with a 6-point lead. Stay tuned now for John Saunders with scores and highlights after this message and word from our ABC.
Bruce Naismith celebrates the 28th year of the Naismith Awards. This week's nominee is Tim Duncan of Wake Forest. The 6-foot 10-inch center is regarded as one of the best players in the nation. Last season, he was selected first-team All-ACC. Duncan became only the second player in ACC history to record 100 blocks in each of his first 2 seasons. For his efforts, he was named National Defensive Player of the Year by the NABC. Tim Duncan, the Boost Naismith Nominee of the Week.
Duke's defense forces 12 turnovers. They're 7 of 11 from three-point land, and they lead here by 6 points at the half. They went on a 7-2 run at the end of the first half. Biggest lead of the games right now.
Well, you know, Brent, we talked about our keys, and one of the keys was shooting the 3 for Duke, and they've responded. They've done a great job shooting the 3. On the other side, you take a look at Harold Dean now. Had a solid first half. There he is now going to square up. Was 2 for 3 from three-point land, only shooting 30% from three-point land for the season. He's better than that. And we're going to look at Jeff Capel, the big-time scorer for Duke, averaging about 16 a game this year. There's the kick out, and he has range as well. He has unlimited range. A very streaky shooter, but he knocks that one down.
Take a look at these numbers, because Virginia outshot Duke 58% to 41, out-rebounded them, but still they're behind.
Well, that's the three-point shot. That's the effectiveness statistically. You don't have to be a genius and go to Harvard to figure it out. If you knock down a 3, you're going to have really great success. As we look at Coach K now, and he knows his talent's a little bit limited. I mean, remember when he's pulling the plugs, 91 and 92, and he's pulling out guys, and you got a Leitner late in the game, and you got a guy like a Hurley, and you got a guy like a Hill. That's a different ball game, Mr. Musburger.
You know, the Cavs have beaten the Blue Devils 5 out of the last 7 times they have played. So expect this would be.
Look at this. No. Kentucky's the best team in America. I didn't say that, baby. But Tito's got the best team. And you know what else? I enjoyed that interview with John Saunders. But the difference in Kentucky, he finally made a decision and moved Tony Doubt to scoring guard and let the point guard play be shared by Epps and Turner, and it became a different team. I personally hope they don't hear this in Amherst. They don't hear this in Massachusetts, do they? I think they're the best team in America. Kentucky.
I just checked. They did hear that.
They did? Oh.
Robinson, not on the scoreboard, has that one knocked away and out of bounds, so it'll be Virginia ball.
I hope they don't hear this down in Clemson. I know he's doing a great job, Rick Barnes, and he could have had this job. He turned it down before Jeff Jones got it. They're going to get their first L tomorrow. Bye-bye against the Tar Heels in Chapel Hill. Hey, people, write Musburger. That's Musburger saying that, not me.
Got it back, and Robinson still can't get on the board. Alexander shipped back. Dean will look for it. Rojo with him. Nolan muscled his way to the glass.
And that was created again by Mr. Dean. He broke down the defense. Duke for years has lived off dribble penetration. They don't have it any longer. They got guys that can knock down the 3, but they don't have guys that can attack the defense.
Well, Virginia out-hustled Duke down there on that offensive rebound, kept it alive. Not happy with that foul as Nolan
puts on his fighting face. Norman Nolan gets a little bit excited, a little bit upset with the call.
That's his 3rd. That's why he's upset.
This guy was some fighter when he played point guard, played during the Ralph Sampson era, Jeff Jones. There it is, little drop step. Sportsmanship is the big thing the refs are definitely looking after this year, so you got to watch your behavior.
Salsky gets loose for his 2nd field goal.
Probably as many touches as he's had with the basketball.
He's had about 3 touches and 2 free throws.
Out of New Mexico. We have a great player from that state in high school, but I know Kenny Thomas now playing for the Lobos. He's in an unbelievable battle with the NCAA.
Left baseline misfired over everything, and Nolan puts it back. That's 2 field goals here. The early moments of the second half. Virginia seems to have a little spark of intensity as we start this second half. Jones might have lathered him up pretty good there at the intermission.
Well, you're playing on your home turf. You got to win on your home floor. They already have a loss here to Florida State. They got to win on their home floor if they expect to be a contender in the ACC.
Newton's out high, Alexander on him.
Nice
Good pass by Domzalski as Collins was coming the other way. It blew the layup.
Yeah, he blew that layup because he nonchalanted on the layup. It was too easy for Chris.
Staples is pushed, and Wojo is assessed the personal.
Wojo with that foul. I don't know if you've been following that situation down in New Mexico I talked about. Kenny Thomas, their great freshman. Personally, I think a kid, as we watch right here, there's the entry. We're going to see the backdoor cut. And there's Collins. He was too easy and he nonchalanted it. I think he should definitely have the NCAA give him his eligibility. He's got his eligibility through an injunction. It all involves core curriculum, 13 classes. They're trying to say a 9th grade class didn't count, and the youngster was told by the counselors that it was good. I mean, all he did was follow the counselors.
Cuts Robinson from Virginia, and he puts it away. That's his first field goal of the game.
He really amazes me. He's got a lot of ability, and yet he becomes like an enigma. You wonder when it's going to show. The students arrive. Hey, somebody must have brought him in the house, Mr. Musburger.
And Virginia has cut it to a 2. They were down 6 at the intermission.
Newton's got to get some touches.
Rice on the pull-up high arc. Virginia can tie or go ahead with a 3. Quick pass off Dean's hand.
Staples can shoot it.
So can Dean. He'll maneuver now to the paint on the pull-up. Give is inside. Triple teamed and Johnson fouled.
Great look again by Harold Dean. Playing much better than he did earlier this year. Really struggled out of the gate, but you can see his productivity in the last 3 games. There it is. Dribble penetration. Get right in the gap of the defense. The no look. See, Johnson's got to take that up quickly. You got to take that up and score. I bet you would have scored there.
Right now.
You would have taken that baby right up.
This first second teams, not Johnson at the line, 2.
Stumping his nose at your comment, Dick. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that if I were you.
Good-looking guy, 6'10", freshman. Former West Point cadet, played under the general. There's a look at, we said, 3-point shot must be effective today. 7 for 11. Interior points a must. Got to get some points in the paint, and they are. That's why they're right in the hunt. Jeff Jones was a distributor. Had a guy to distribute to when Big Ralph played down here. Mr. Sampson.
Cavs 42 all as Scott Johnson ties it with a pair of free throws.
Certainly Duke doesn't want another scenario. Go into that locker room with a heartbreaking loss and be 0-4.
Zalski maneuvering. And Newton with an offensive rebound.
He's active, the big guy. He really is, Brett. He's getting better and better. He is really a much better player than I saw earlier this year.
And Staples rattles in a long ranger.
And that's what they need out of Mr. Staples. They need his trifecta. Shooting less than 30% this year from three-point range. That's a no-no.
Virginia's first lead since they were up 20-17 in the first half. Capel off the dribble has it knocked away and out by Dean, and Capel with a little shoulder into Dean.
Mike Wood, the official there. Look at the body on Harold Dean. I mean, he's talking about super strong arms.
Now watch Capel after this.
There's the block. Now watch Capel. Oh, yeah, he bumped him. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. That's unsportsmanlike. Come on, Jeff, play hoops.
And Capel responds.
And he did. He played hoops. He listened to us.
Dean on the dribble, and the foul is called against Duke.
But it was really good to see Dean keep his composure, because an incident like that usually sparks a guy to retaliate.
And then he would have been assessed the personal and tossed out of the game or whatever. 1-point Duke lead now, 16 minutes to go here in regulation.
Max Gagliardo talking to him, say, hey, that stuff can't go on. You're too good a player. You come from a great family. His dad is the coach at Old Dominion. His brother, younger brother, they say, is a tremendous talent. He's a high school junior.
Staples rattles out. Johnson has it rejected by Domzalski. Domzalski now getting active underneath.
Johnson a little bit slow with that bounce off the floor. Pittsburgh would have went over the Irish by 10. Remember
Collins.
Oh, nice move by Collins to the goal. We got an injury on the other side, though. Staples got hit in the face on that drive. Now the official is looking at Mr. Staples. Remember this date, Mr. Musburger. January 23rd. That's when Pittsburgh plays Mass. Mass's unbeaten record will go down that day to Pittsburgh.
Okay, we've got that written down right here. Timeout.
Payne Weber College Basketball on ABC, brought to you by Boost. Help keep your body at its best with new Boost Nutritional Energy Drink. Bear, powerful pain relief, and so much more. Discus Athletic Activewear. Discus Athletic, the way America plays. And Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted.
Here is an amazing statistic about Duke. Among the elite for the last decade plus of the ACC. And now, coming into this game, they have lost 18 of their last 20 ACC games. That is just unthinkable in the era of Mike Krzyzewski.
Well, it's so shocking when you've seen how successful they've been. 7 Final Fours in a 9-year period, back-to-back national titles, player of the years. When you talk about Hill, and you talk about Leitner, and you talk about Ferry.
Robinson makes a good catch and shifts it back to Johnson. He'll take a three. He's not the three-point gunner, but Robinson's got it right back, and he's showing hustle here in the second half. And Alexander has it rejected, but put it down. Wallace goaltending, and that's 13 points for Courtney.
I can see why he averaged 30.7 a game at Jordan High School in Durham, scored 2,087 points. This is a scorer. We see the rejection. The ball was coming down. There's the slashing drive by Courtney Alexander. Can't play with that basketball up on that cylinder. Good call.
It's a 1-point Duke lead, 48-47. And while we've got a moment during this break, let's remind everybody that tomorrow night, right here on ABC, you are the stars, America, on America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by Lois and Clark. And Daniel Day-Lewis and Madeline Stowe star on the network premiere of The Last of the Mohicans tomorrow night on ABC. About those Mohicans, that's the only Indian tribe without a casino.
I know I'm going to be right at that TV tube watching.
We'll be right back. Four straight points now for the Blue Devils. They have built a 1-point lead in this game. Down Zalski, and that was ended when Courtney Alexander down here, and that stopped that run by the Blue Devils as they had regained the lead. And into Dean's hands, and now the Cavaliers will try to put field goals together. Dean loses the handle on it.
Ricky Price is their best defender. They rotated him on Dean.
Robinson rattles out into Collins' hands. He's quickly cut off, and it's 14-18 to go.
I think Collins is going to be a coach like his dad. I really do. He's got a great head for the game.
Price fouled, and he'll shoot a pair.
Out of Sarah High School, Carson, California, was the player of the year. Outstanding high school player, Ricky Price, really playing well here today. You talk to Chris Collins, and I'm going to tell you something, just sounds like his dad. There's the jump shot. We're going to see the long rebound. Ball's going to be deflected, and here comes Mr. Price. Bounces right in his hands, takes it up again. He's got that quick bounce off the floor. I think Mike Krzyzewski, if you define coaching to me is the ability to get maximum out of your people. He's doing that, Brent. You look at that personnel. I mean, they're in a game with everybody. They got 9 wins, and they really are limited in their personnel. Maybe because I've been spoiled watching Duke for the years that he won. It's a big-time performance.
Price here with 14 points.
They lost some great recruits that were in battle for who they really changed the complexion of this team. Kid like a Donald Foyle, who decided to go to Colgate. Duke is zoning right now.
Johnson, chance for a 3-point play. He'll shoot a free throw.
Nice play. Hey, by the way, we just saw a Purdue score. I know you and I want to send our sympathies out to Gene Cady on the passing of his dad, and our prayers are certainly with the Cady family right now, with his daughter battling an unbelievable situation. A beautiful girl, absolutely gorgeous, Lisa, his adopted daughter.
Yeah, there was a freak accident, in case someone was wondering what happened. She apparently fell at home and was knocked unconscious and had to undergo brain surgery. And we certainly hope that Lisa's going to be all right.
Our prayers are with you, Gene. Everybody at ABC.
We are tied here at 50. Inside of 14 minutes to go in the second half. The Blue Devils were up by 6 at the intermission, and Collins off the weave.
They went to a little 1-4 set with a double post. Curl some people out. A 1-guard set.
Tough D by the Cavaliers. Price bounces in, and Courtney has assessed the personal foul, and now for him, that is only number 1.
I think the officials got to really take a little bit grab at this. The players are starting to get a little too demonstrative on every call. Like that word, more than one syllable I use. There's the, see, he thinks he beats him to the spot. A little slow getting there. I mean, now we're going to get demonstrative. You don't need it. Just play.
Price misses on the 3. Into the hands of Robinson now. The Cavaliers will come down.
Ricky Price
is attacking Dean, and now Dean gets away from him, and he rams into Wallace, gets it on back, ricochet, pass. It's getting brutal out there underneath. Robinson comes in, and finally a whistle.
I'll tell you right, Brand, the contact's unreal. A lot of emotion. Wallace says, who, me? Who, me? I didn't do anything. A lot of contact in this game. There's the screen. Wow! Did you see that screen? I mean, that screen was unbelievable. I mean, he laid a screen on him, Alexander, on Price. So you got to communicate. You got to talk. And you can pick 4 guys. These young kids out there are watching. Whenever a guy sets up a screen, you got to communicate.
Now for Robinson, that's only 3 points, but he has pulled down 7 rebounds here today. So he has been very active on the glass for Jones.
He's had a great year coming off the bench. Whenever they insert him in a starting lineup like today, he has struggled, but he's had some big games this year coming off that bench.
And he has shot the Cavaliers into a 1-point lead here in the second half. 51-50 now.
Duke really playing minus a point.
Cable's open. Collins. Duke leads.
He can make the open shot. You allow him to get that open shot, he's going to knock that baby down. Very emotional player. I love his enthusiasm, his spirit.
Virginia's turn.
There's that 2-3 zone now. Duke is playing zone, trying to match up, but no one matches up like John Chaney. What a job he does with the matchup. Players hate to face that. Temple already this year beating the number 1 and 2 teams in America in a matter of 9 days.
13 misses. Robinson's got it back for the Cavaliers.
He does that zone. They're going to make him shoot it over the top. Going to shoot it over the top. Oh, he got it inside.
And Courtney Alexander with 15 points on the game.
Having a big day from out of Durham, North Carolina. And everybody knows that's the side of the Duke campus.
Duke's turn.
It's a good game. Very competitive. Both teams certainly not super talented, but very competitive. And well coached.
Newton swatted away by Chris Alexander. Courtney tries to save it out of bounds. Duke, it's going to go back.
Alexander with the shot
called the timeout in the air, and that was a late call as he was going out of bounds. And the Blue Devils and Krzyzewski are not happy about this call. This one was right on the edge. He was about in the seats back there.
There's a steer by Mike Krzyzewski. Andre Padillo. We're going to watch the ball entered inside. Alexander's second best shot blocker in school history to Sampson. And there it is. I'll let you be the judge, Mr. Musburger. I got one eye. That's my left side. I'm blind. I can't see that side. Help me out.
Well, Dick, it was very close as he was going out of bounds. I think that the umpire coming down in front of us did have a clear shot of the youngster. Actually, a much better shot than the Duke bench had.
Exactly.
So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and it was a smart move. And now the Cavaliers will come down, leading it by a point, 53-52.
And the home team gets the call. St. John's, one of the real disappointments this year, up by 4 at Louisville. The season could be could be really labeled as could have been or should have been or would have been if Osborne and Sanders would have done the job in the classroom.
Dean, Chris gets it back to him, and offensive foul is called against Dean.
Good call by Frank Scagliotta. Had a great angle, was the trail official staring right at it. Excellent call on Dean.
That is Virginia's first turnover of this half after 12 in the first half. Yep. Huge difference in this game, and as a result, the Cavaliers lead it by 1.
A little motion game, pass and go away. You pass, enter, and go away.
Nope. Duke lead.
I really like him, Brett. I'm telling you, the kid is getting to be a scorer on the inside. He had about 5 games this year where he was better than 20, but it was against the middle range kind of competition, not against the real super competition. He needs a big game against a super team, I think, to take him over to the next level.
Team 3 is off. Capel rebounds. So here we go. 2 teams at the crossroads. Duke 0-3 in the ACC. Virginia 1-2. It's a 1-point game. 10.5 minutes to go.
Wallace, a role player. Now you're looking at some offensive rebounding out of, run the court, a little athletic ability, some defense. See, right now, they don't have a dribble penetrator per se. See, Collins ain't going to beat you with the dribble move.
Capel out of bounds. It was also a bad pass by Chris, and it drew Capel out of bounds. Virginia ball.
I don't think you can win big in college basketball without a true point guard. I think Kentucky has seen that now, going to Epps, who is a point guard, and Turner. They have changed their whole look at that club, and that's why they're super right now, because they have all the other parts.
Krzyzewski told me before the game, Dick, that one of the things he has done is be very positive with this group. He has never gotten down on them, despite the fact that they're losing, always building them up. He said, we're just waiting for them to break through. He said nothing would help this group of athletes like a couple of wins along the way. But everything's very positive with the way Krzyzewski's handling this team.
That's how he was in practice yesterday. Man, a tremendous practice. He always puts a clinic on. He's a teacher, an educator, a winner. I'll tell you one thing, you got a son. I know if I had a son, I wouldn't mind him being associated with Mr. K. We're going to see the bumping going on inside, bumping and bruising.
Virginia down a point. And a foul against Duke, and that's on Price. That's his 3rd personal, Dick.
And that's going to be big because Price gives them that athletic ability they need, which we talk about means lateral quickness, jumping ability, speed. You can go north-south quicker than most. He possesses that ability. He's just got to tell himself he could be a special player. He's got to want it, and he's got to be able to respond to what the coaches want. Ricky Price has that kind of talent.
So now with 7 fouls on Duke, and Virginia moves into that bonus segment here. 4 team fouls against the Cavaliers. So as a team, the Cavaliers have been much more efficient here in the second half under Jones with 9:42 to go.
You talk about great point guards in America. You start with a Jock Vaughn, even though this year, right now, I'd give the edge to Allen Iverson if I were picking my All-American team mid-season. Camby, Duncan. Certainly I'd have Kittles, Allen, and Iverson. But Dean has got to be right behind. So is Vaughn, Brevin Knight. You have a solid point guard, you got a chance to win.
Tied at 54 with 9:40 to go. 9 of Dean's first 13 points came in the early minutes, like the first 8 minutes of this game, so they've done a good job defensively. Wojciechowski got in too far. And now coming out, here's Robinson. Robinson tried to get around, got the shot off, knocked out of bounds, and it's Virginia's ball.
Not a good shot right by Robinson in that sequence. You're 2-on-2. You got to bring it back out. You got to take better care of the basketball, especially in a tie game and a game that really means so much to both these clubs. You got to learn how to manage each possession.
Staples with the miss. He's lost the handles. Staples got it back, and this time he bangs it in, and it's 8 with 2 threes on the game. Curtis Staples, second shot, did it.
I'll tell you one thing, he's not bashful. He's going to let it fly. Mr. Staples only shooting 24% this year from three-point range. He's too good for that.
Price is cut off at the baseline by Robinson.
Robinson and Price, you're looking at a lot of quickness there.
Again, that matchup, and Robinson has done an excellent job on Price.
A pass and cut without the ball. A lost art in college basketball. Wow.
The launch into Virginia's hands.
That was really a launch. Poor possession right there by Duke.
And the cutter is Robinson. Short. And there was Domzalski.
Can't complete the play. You got to be able to finalize and complete the play. Whenever in transition, the Dukies had a guy that can complete it when Mr. Hill touched the ball during his era. Look at the competitiveness, the intensity. 35 years old, already a head coach going to his 6th year. has great numbers, but doesn't have the funny one-liners. Why don't you write his copy and give him all those funny one-liners after a game, and he'd be America's superstar. Stop laughing at me, will you, Mr. Musburger?
It's hard to stop. You make me laugh, man. 57-54, Virginia.
We had a lot of fun at dinner last night, especially I didn't have to pay for the bill. There's the three-point shooting here at the second half. Duke, little Brick City, 0 for 3. The Valentine sign, the 3-ring sign right there.
That's it.
And we look at Virginia shooting 4 for 13. Less than 25%.
Virginia's defense has really been the feature. They get Wojo open, and he brings it down with his first field goal of the game, and it guns Duke into a tie.
Nice set play. Duke goes to the three-point shot, and Wojciechowski responds. Wojo plays hard every time he's on the floor.
Staples doesn't go out when under pressure.
He has to learn what a good shot is. That's his biggest dilemma in now becoming a starter, coming off the bench, understanding the definition of shot selection.
Duke with a very small lineup. Wojo, Collins, Capel out there, and the foul goes against Virginia. And it's on Staples. So we'll return with more. It's Duke and Virginia right after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, there's our lineup next Saturday on Payne Weber's college basketball here on ABC. Virginia, Georgia Tech, UCLA, Arizona, Temple, Arizona. Check your local listings. Capel will step to the free throw line and shoot a pair. Duke and Virginia are tied at 57, 7:21 left in regulation.
We'll see Jeff again next week in that game with Georgia Tech. Can't wait to get down there. Their new field house. Their field house has been renovated. Spent a lot of money. And we'll see the trio on a perimeter in Marbury and Harpering and Mr. Barry. They have a way. They have 7 losses in their pre-conference schedule. They've played a dynamite schedule, playing the likes of Kentucky and Massachusetts and Georgetown. Talking about Georgia Tech. But they're 3-0 right now. Stephon Marbury, though, I'll tell you one thing. He better stay in school. I've said it once, I'll say it again. He needs Georgia Tech more than Georgia Tech needs him to structure his game. And you and I were talking today. Guys like Ewing and Olajuwon and guys like Jabbar. You talk about Mourning. They all have one thing in common. Stayed 4 years, and none of them are starving. They're in your category financially. They're up there with you, Mr. Musburger, all those guys. And I'm just trying to make a living.
Meanwhile, back to the game. 59-57, Virginia trailing. Knocked away now and into the hands on the turnover. Capel gives it up to Wojo, and here come the Devils, leading it by a deuce with 7 minutes to go. Can they break through and win a game? Will there be a go-to guy for Duke, or will someone on Virginia step up and take charge of this game? These two teams both looking for a leader in the last 5 minutes.
Well, this guy should be their leader. He's got lots of experience. Capel.
The three, Collins from the corner.
And again, he gets that good look. If he can square his body and get the good look at the goal, he's going to make that go down.
That's 15 for Chris. He leads the way. Capel with 14 and Price with 13.
The three has really been big for Duke. Without the three today, they're in major league trouble.
They are hounding Dean here in the second half.
But see, that's coaching. Taking advantage of what the strengths are of your people.
The Devils on an 8-0 run right now. Alexander sets the screen, and Courtney Alexander lays it in. That's 17 points for the freshman.
And he shows he's ambidextrous. Is that the word? Is that how you say it, Brett? Help me out. I mean, I can't believe it. Courtney Alexander is a driver, a slasher, a scorer. I'm 30 a game in high school.
Could be the freshman who comes up big here.
Nice curl move by Collins, but a good job defensively by Staples getting over the top.
Joe bringing it back now on the dribble, and he puts it into Capel's hands, and they've turned it over.
And that's the defense again against Virginia. The architect, Mr. Jones, does a solid job teaching defense.
It was Dean who forced that. He's with the ball, and as he comes in, the foul is called on Wojo.
I think Wojo was a little bigger. He'd be one heck of a linebacker. He's just got a nose to hitting people.
Great. Rice returns, and Wojo sits.
Virginia had that loss to Clemson. Clemson, by the way, has been sensational. Rick Barnes. By the way, Barnes had this job. He was offered the job, turned it down. Then he talked to people like Mr. Montgomery from out of Stanford. He could have had it. Peter Gillen. And finally they said, you know what? We got an assistant here. Let's give him a shot. And they did. And the rest, as they say, is history.
14 for Harold. You can make it a 1-point game.
You like my guy Dean now? Do you like him?
I think he's a fine, nice player. I've always thought he was a nice player. I absolutely do not think he's great. And I shouldn't be saying, I'm not trying to put the young man down. I want everybody to understand that I reserve.
I know greatness is for special, but if you look in college basketball, how many are better than Harold Dean as a point guard? That's my definition.
Capel.
Not a good shot right there. I mean, that's way the heck out. You don't need that kind of possession, a shot like that this late.
Oh, off the glass on the run. Look at what I got. Well, Mr. Staples.
Trying to show he can do more than shoot the jump shot. Comes up with the big deuce. I thought he shot the ball too quickly, Capel. Experienced player. He's got to know better.
But it falls, and Virginia leads by 1. Capel hung up, but he gets it into Price, who is sealed. Good interior defense. Capel on a runner is not there. Battle for the loose ball. Capel came up with it, and off the pass, the foul is called against the Cavaliers.
Good job by Capel with the second effort, getting possession. Virginia did a poor job blocking out in that possession.
Oh, yeah. Game of runs, isn't it, basketball? Duke goes 8-0. Now Virginia goes 6-0. Cavaliers lead it by 1, 4.5 minutes. That's really what the sport is.
Well, that's what basketball is, especially with the great team in Massachusetts. John Calipari, his club, put spurts on to break you down. Kentucky's a great spurt team. I'll have Kentucky Tuesday night. I can't wait to go to Baton Rouge. Dale Brown's club's been hot the last 2 times out, and I know Dale always has something very special when they hook up for Kentucky.
Wallace now for the lead. Out of Wilmington, Delaware, junior. And the Blue Devils have the lead. Wallace with 5 points in the second half.
Well, the conversion on the free throw line by Wallace special. Right now, Duke touches the floor. That means that we're going to play some tough defense.
Staples rattles in a 3, and it's 13 for Curtis.
Staples finds the jumper. A little MBN, nothing but nylon. Curtis's jumper has arrived today. Dean and Capel, good matchup right now. We've got experience against experience, strength against strength. Wallace trying to get it over to Capel.
Wallace off the fake, gets on the inside. Stay, battle now underneath, and the Cavaliers are coming out. Good strong rebound by Dean. Excellent work, and then a bad pass knocked away. But they've got it back into the hands of Courtney Alexander.
You don't want your 5th option to shoot the ball. Wallace is their 5th option. You got to have your number 1 and 2 options score right now when you get late in the game.
Courtney jams it in. That freshman with 19 points.
I'll tell you, a great play by Dean with the penetration. Alexander finalizes, and the place is rocking and rolling, baby, here in Charlottesville.
Payne Weber believes the best investment is an investment in education, and they salute Maurice Watkins as Scholar Athlete of the Game and congratulate him on his own investment in the future. Payne Weber recognizes the commitment to education with a $1,000 donation to the University of Virginia for ongoing research. The young man is averaging 3.25 in systems engineering.
Wow, you just know here at Virginia, this is one of the tough schools academically in America. Congratulations to Maurice.
Price can't get it off. Corner. Collins not there. Into the hands of Courtney. Now Virginia is on an 11-2 run over the last 2:30. And the Cavs with their biggest lead in the ball. They're up 4, and they have taken charge.
How many times we have said you live by the 3, you'll die by the 3, and that's what seems to be happening right now to Duke.
Nolan, fouled by Newton, will shoot a pair.
Clemson beat them in a shootout 89-79 when Dean had 39. Clemson's playing 5 freshmen a great deal. And I know Mr. Jones, Jeff Jones, told me how impressive
The freshmen are down at Clemson. They had a tough break, though. They just lost their outstanding point guard, Merle Code, and we wish him a speedy recovery to a knee injury, and that's going to hurt Rick Barnes' club. Three areas in college that drive me absolutely bananas. Shooting free throws, the lack of it, not blocking out defensively, and not moving without the ball. Now, those are three areas that kids just don't work on.
Free throws, both of them that time. Big 4-point Virginia lead. And now the Blue Devils looking for a field goal. Capel gets on the inside off, and Newton had it knocked away by Dean and out of bounds. One of the things about Dean that you've got to like is the work he does down here at the defensive end and in that paint area. He's very active defensively.
And that's what separates him from a lot of guys out there who play are one-dimensional. And Iverson plays defense, and so does Vaughn.
Vaughn plays it well as anyway in the country.
Yeah, he's
magnificent defensive guard.
Great leader.
Capel has it rejected, puts it back up, not there. Tapped by Newton, still alive by Capel, knocked away, out of bounds, Virginia ball.
Newton's got to step up and want the basketball a little bit on the inside. He's a big guy with some presence, but in that possession, Mike Krzyzewski's got to be upset because they didn't allow Duke, and Duke rather in that situation didn't take advantage of the two missed free throws by Virginia. I'm going to see the ball as a shot block. I'll tell you, Alexander really gives him a presence, blocking shots. Offensive rebound, contact, Roberts. Duke needs a stop right now. They need a big defensive stop in this possession.
Dean. Will shoot.
So he creates opportunities. I like guards who attack the defense and create opportunities. It's like football. And I know you like that football, that pigskin. You like those backs that attack that hole.
I think that's spelled Biakabatuka. I'm not sure.
Ooh. There's the drive. And also the kid that's coming back, and I salute him. He's my new hero now. Lowen Son at Florida State saying bye-bye. So I'm not going to that next level. I'm staying in college. Nothing like my college years. And he misses. 3 in a row now. They missed on the free throw line. Now what can the coach do? They work on that. The coach gets blamed, and kids Brick City, USA, they want to build housing apartments or whatever. They don't want to make free throws. I mean, it's incredible. Too many bricks. Concentrated right there and knocked that baby down.
69-64, 5 and inside of Duke in trouble. Really needs a hoop this trip. Gotta have one now.
And you can think two. You got two possessions.
On a runner, no one else touched the ball. And then Capel commits the personal.
This has been a typical Duke season thus far in the ACC. Play people super tough to the last minute and then break down at the end of the game and have a great effort. There were a lot of tears, they say, in the Duke locker room when they lost the other day at home to Wake Forest, where they played so well early, especially defensively. And tonight they've given a great effort this afternoon. And here it is. They could go back 0-4.
2 of their 3 losses over Cameron, which again, during the Krzyzewski era, that was unfair.
And it doesn't get any easier. I mean, they don't have, when you look at their schedule, you can look at the schedule and say they have it automatic. Even when you talk about, for example, situations like playing Temple at UCLA. Robin Roberts, I love her. I love Robin Roberts. Worked with her. What a tremendous job she's going to do with the wide world of sports.
140-71-64. Virginia with the lead. Capel and the miss. 1 and out.
One guy handling the basketball, last 2 possessions, and just bad shots. Virginia coming up big at the end of the game, and winning time. Now they're going to spread the court and put the ball in Dean's hand. He's got a lot of shake and bake with him. Super strength. Just got to work on his shot a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see the matchup next week when he hooks up with Stephon Marbury. Georgia Tech and Virginia. Oh, that's contact.
And he calls the time.
Oh, he got the timeout. I thought there might have been contact right there. Great offensive rebound. Big possession, and they love it here in Charlottesville. There's the jump shot. They use the clock. They get a lot of time off the clock. The ball is knocked out. Staples with the catch. Well, incidental contact. Good call by the official. No foul, and there's the timeout. Anthony Solomon used to play for Virginia. Fine assistant coach. They got a great high school kid coming in, Willie Dersh and Melvin Whitaker, a 6'10 player for next year. Little ACC basketball crunch time. Bremen sitting up on top of the ACC 3-0 after 7 losses in the pre-conference. Bobby's club since 1990 hasn't gotten better than 8-8, and they put themselves, you talk about bubble situation. They're already in a bubble when you talk about it this time of the year. You talk about Georgia Tech because of those 7 pre-conference losses against really super competition.
Well, with 6:43 to go here in the game, Duke was completing an 8-0 run, and they were up 62-57. Since 6:43, Duke is without a field goal. They have been outscored 14-2, and that is your storyline right now.
Take a look at Mike Krzyzewski sitting next to Tommy Amica, who I think will be an outstanding head coach. There's a big possession right now. Duke's got a foul right away. Try to steal, make contact. I don't know about, making contact's one thing, but what about intentional, Mr. Musburger?
Well, we'll take a look at it.
The rule is if you're playing the basketball, going after the ball. Well, I guess he was going after the ball even though he made contact on him. Looked like he hit him with there's the left. There's the left. He's really going attacking the basketball. I don't believe that was intentional in any shape or form.
What happened was that Wallace came away thinking he was not that hurt at all. It was accidentally put his hand up there. Wallace had a big smile on his face. He came back over right here in the neighborhood of the Virginia student body. And I mean, they jumped on his case.
Yeah, they really did.
He came back over here. Wallace is going to have some interesting trips down the road next year when he comes into Charlottesville. They'll be ready for him.
But he definitely, in that situation, that was not intentional.
No,
he was going after the basketball. He's with a smile. He's happy, I think, to see the kid's okay. He goes, he's fine, goes to the foul line, knocks it down. Wake Forest, a big game today by Tim Duncan.
11 blocked shots
That's
against
incredible.
Maryland. 11.
That's incredible. And a triple-double. You look at the long haul and look at the upside. Tim Duncan's the best player in America. Right now, though, if I had a pick today, my player of the year, it would be Marcus Camby for what he's done at this point.
Capel misfiring again.
It's over, baby. Warm up the bus. Get that engine going. Go to this baby is history.
Capel fouls Staples, and so it is Virginia that finds a way to win here. And he'll even out the Virginia record under Jones this year in the ACC. Goes to 2-2, and Blue Devils sink to 0-4. And it takes Krzyzewski now in his 16th year there.
This man will battle out of this tough time. Strong men usually survive tough times, and he will survive it. Believe me, people better have their fun now because he's going to start to load up on personnel. They're also recruiting a great guard from New Jersey, Shaheen Holloway, who right now is also thinking of Syracuse, Seton Hall, and
Staples steps it up here in the second half. He has 15 points, 13 of the 15 in the second half. So he came up big after the intermission. Collins, and finally on the tap in, that probably was Capel. Timeout is called, 75-66, but the Cavaliers are going to put this one in the W column.
1-second timeout for Blue Devils.
The ACC this year is going to be absolutely go bananas. As we talked about earlier, there aren't any Rolls-Royce teams. There are really a lot of good teams, but really, and there aren't any cupcakes. Says Georgetown would have went bouncing back after their loss against Pittsburgh, and as John, who does a phenomenal job in the studio, I'm his agent, talked about their win today after being blown out by Pittsburgh. Look at Michigan. They're starting to come on. They got the best talent in the Big Ten. If you look at pure talent, The last 2 years, the Michigan recruiting classes, to me, are the best classes back-to-back in the Big Ten in a number of years.
So what else is new?
They just roll them in up there in Ann Arbor, don't they? Football, basketball.
That's a reminder of what's coming up your way next. ABC's Wide World of Sports with the NutraSweet World Challenge of Champions, the season premiere here.
Hey, since this one's wrapped up, and I know you're a big football guy, what did you think of Nebraska putting a hurt on Florida? Would you expect that?
I didn't expect the way they manhandled them. I mean, clearly, Dick, they were the most physical of the two. I mean, they put a big-time licking on it.
Tommy Frazier, special. Absolutely special.
I also think that the unsung hero was the defensive coach, McBride. I thought that the job that he did waiting to change the defenses until after Werfel audibled out, I thought was just another great coaching job up there in Nebraska.
Yeah, they did a great job, and they certainly got a lot of talent up there in their offensive line. They can open holes for you and me. I'd love to play that option. I'd like to take Frazier's place up there and run that option with that offensive line.
Have you done a basketball game up there recently in Nebraska?
I did a game about 3 years ago, when they upset Kansas. Might have even been longer than that. The place was really rocking, Danny.
Did you get a chance to go down to the weight room the football team uses?
No, I haven't been down there.
The next time you're up there, ask them to show you that facility. It's magnificent.
You're telling me that football's big time up there, huh? Wow.
Not getting any smaller after the...
I don't want to start this. I just didn't think Lawrence Phillips should have played. That's my feeling. I don't want to get into this, but all right, we'll bring it. It's the end of the game. We don't get. Well, let's talk. This game is history. I don't think he should have played with his actions on. Off the field. I mean, come on. It comes to a point. There comes a point you got to make decisions, and they should have made a decision. He should not have played.
Listen. I'll take the other side of it.
Okay, you and I are battle.
I'm going to take the other side of it, just only because I know Tom Osborne.
Well, let me say this. If that was your daughter, would you take the other side if that was your daughter? If that was your daughter?
You listen up a minute, okay?
I'm upset about that.
Okay, you listen up. Because of Osborne, we got to cut him some slack because he knows the issue a lot more than you and I do, okay? So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not calling the shots at Nebraska, and I think he is. And I don't know why you ever brought that up this afternoon.
I don't know. We're talking about Nebraska.
What else you got over there in your saddlebags, partner?
We got to have to
Is Paulus going to be healthy? What else you want to talk about?
They tell me he's going to be definitely healthy. Hey, what a great performance defensively down the stretch. Great performance defensively by Virginia. They made the shots count, and you looked at the Dukies. They came up empty. At the end of the game, it gets down to winning time. You got to make special plays. And they had the deans of the world. And right now, the Dukies did not respond. Big win for Jeff Jones.
All right, Virginia outscores Duke 20-4 over the last 6:43. 77-66, the final.
As sure as the sun will rise